Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another edition of the Island Guys podcast. In this one, we continue the interview series. With me are the usual characters. My good friend Steve. What's up, Steve?
What's up, Kev?
And with us to introduce our guest is my brother Rob. Rob, what's going on?
Not much. How you doing? We got a good interview for you today.
And all right, so the floor is all yours. Take it away, Steve.
All right. He is a former Division I athlete, an Ivy League grad, the founder of Advanced Training, and no offense to anybody else, but the best coach I've ever played for, Coach George Mahoney.
Hey, what's up, Coach?
That's some intro, man. I hope I can deliver on this interview now.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So, we'll interview here. So we'll let Steve start it up. He's got a question. It's first question. So ahead, Steve. Go ahead.
Well, first, before I start my first question with you, Coach Mahoney, I just want to say thank you for coming on the show. It means so much to us to have you on.
It does. Yeah, appreciate it, Coach.
Yeah.
Take out your busy schedule.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you, guys. I'm honored to be on it, so thank you for having me on.
Yes. So, as our viewers will know in this interview, that you just love the game of football. You've been in football for so many years. So my first question to you is, what made you love the game of football?
So even I'm thinking back to when I was a kid, maybe 7th or 8th grade, just every single day playing it on the street. And for whatever reason, my friends gave me this ridiculous nickname of Dallas, because when we played a two-hand touch in the street, I always had a playbook. So everything we did had to be team-centered. And in the playbook, it was always about this is two-hand touch in the street. It was faking a handoff, faking a jet motion, throwing a pass, just trying to get everybody involved. And what I liked even as a 7th or 8th grader was just getting people in the neighborhood that maybe not come out of their shell to want to come on the field or on the street and play with us. I just love that competitive nature and getting everyone to come to another level that they didn't have. And oddly, it was in a young age thinking like a coach.
Oh, wow.
That's
Awesome.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's the
Now,
playbook
getting
on the
older-
street. That's something else. That's something I haven't heard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Up
people
in the dirt.
were annoyed playing with me because our team had a lot of success on the street, but it wasn't just like, hey, go out and run a pass. We were literally putting playbooks in. But as I got older, what I liked about football was the physicality of it. And in my mind, and my friends hate me for saying this, but I just feel like it's not something that everybody can do. I mean, I played baseball in high school. I played a little bit in college, but how different would baseball be is if the pitcher's in his windup and somebody's going to come rock him in the face, right? Like if somebody's just going to blindside him, is that guy going to throw a strike? Or if you're on the free throw line and someone's going to come jack you up. To me, that brings an extra level of complexity to it when somebody's going to hit you. So when this wide receiver's going over the middle, he's got his hands like this, and he knows he's going to get railed, that to me brings a different dimension to the game of football. So for me, it was that exclusivity of you got to be tough. Yeah, you got to be skilled, but you got to be able to be tough to play. Even to just get through football camp, you're tough. Anybody who's played football, who's made it through high school, has earned my respect for life.
Wow, that's good.
Awesome.
So a question I'll go off of that. You hear a lot of comparisons about, basketball players. Can they play football? Like there was this whole debate if LeBron could play in the NFL. I always say no because of the physicality. Like, can you get popped and get back up? What are your thoughts on that?
So I think skill-wise, he can. Look, I'm sure he can. He's LeBron James. He's one of the greatest athletes ever. And I'm sure you stack him up with any wide receiver or tight end. I'm pretty sure he played high school football. I saw a couple of clips. I think we're him. Can't say that without certainty. I think they could. Now, I'll be honest. My thoughts have changed a bit over the last few years. And this is what I thought about is even as a player. So when I was at St. by the Sea, I know we said we're going to name too many high schools here, but I will. When I played there, we only had 4 seniors on our team. So we had everyone else quit. We had 4 seniors left. It used to irritate me as we were practicing. I'd look over in the parking lot to see, and guys would be playing two-hand touch. I said, man, these guys love football. They just don't want to come to practice every day. They don't want to bang their head against the wall every day. So there's got to be a way to get these guys in. And I kind of took that angle as a head coach saying, let's make practice not so awful. Let's make this not an awful experience for everybody to come in. And there's this other coach, his name is Tony Collar, and he has this system called Feed the Cats. So what he's saying is you have a lot of highly skilled athletes that don't want to put up with the insanity of playing football 2-a-days, 3-a-days, 4 days at camp, whatever it is, hitting every day of the week. Maybe you develop a system where you can get these cats in. So, yeah, on one side of the fence, I'm saying I love the toughness of it. On the other side of the fence, there's guys that should be playing football that just aren't. As coaches, we've made the game way too hard. We made practice too brutal. And are we making guys worse doing that? You know, if in my mind, sometimes we are. We're making them slower, we're making them tired, we're making them hate the game of football. It's a simple game, but coaches overcomplicate it, myself included. So do I think LeBron James can play in the NFL? Yes. Could he have played in high school football in some of the conditions you did, Rob? Probably not.
All right.
And you know what I'm talking about, Rob. You know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we'll stick on the topic of football. I'll get to my question. Like Rob said, we all listen to your podcast on your life. So my question is, why'd you pick Columbia as the school? Like you said, I know Ivy League, but like, what about Princeton? Why was Columbia the school for you?
You had to bring up Princeton. So
sorry about that.
Princeton sent me a nice letter saying we don't want you in the school. Dartmouth letter saying we don't want you in the school. So to be fair, Columbia was actually the only Ivy League college that I got into. Now, my family wasn't really a big, I'd say, academic family. We didn't have a lot of people before me that went to college. So my parents really didn't know the game. They didn't know about applying early or applying at all. So the only schools I applied to were schools that had some level of interest in me in football. So that was Columbia, Princeton, Dartmouth. I didn't apply anywhere else. Looking back, I might have applied to every single one of them. When I get, I'd say, any scholarships to play at a big-time Division I school, it was just a long conversation with my parents and my old high school football coach saying, where do you want to be at the end of this thing? You can go to Division III school and you get on the, get into the school, or you can go to Columbia and struggle, but you're going to walk out with an Ivy League degree. So to me, it was just it was almost a no-brainer. And the other secret is that I hate the city. I live in Staten Island like you guys. I hate traffic. I hate taking the ferry. I did not want to go to Manhattan. I was saying, there's no way. I'm not going there. My parents said, idiot, just go on this tour. So we go on the tour. I get to the campus, and it's like this beautiful sanctuary inside of Manhattan. I don't know if you guys ever been there, but it's 8 square blocks, really safe neighborhood, safe inside the school, security guards all over the place. And when I saw it, I said, okay, this is like a home away from me. But yeah, I did play a little harder every time we played Princeton just to let them know it.
Let them know what they missed out on.
That's right.
Yeah. So, like when you got to Columbia, you needed to get your foot in the door, I would say. So tell us that story. Who was the one guy that I guess helped you, or two guys that helped you on your way to getting into Columbia?
You're talking about walking onto the football team.
Exactly. Yes. Sorry to elaborate. The football part.
I'll say this. It wasn't easy because I had been taking a trip every single day to the coach's office to try and walk on the team. And this is starting in September of my freshman year. And it took until February that I actually was able to meet the head coach. So from September to February, I went there every day. And every day they said, oh, yeah, coach will be back in a little bit, or coach is in a meeting, or get the hell out of here. What are you doing? I just got these people actually started to love me and feel bad for me by the end, but I could never get with the coach. So, the story goes is that I'm in there in February. We get back from our winter break, and standing in the opening of this football coach's office is this guy named Marcellus Wiley. He's on ESPN now, probably the best player that ever played at Columbia. And at the time, he was the best player in the Ivy League. And he was a real charismatic guy. He said, well, why are you here? I told him the story. I'm trying to walk on. Nobody will see me. And then in through the door walks the head coach. And he said, hey, coach. And the guy's like, hey, what's up, Wiley? What's up? He said, yeah, this is my little brother. Now, Marcellus Wiley's 6'5". He was a defensive end. I'm 5'8". We look nothing alike at all. He's the guy that actually even just got the conversation going. He said, why don't you meet with this guy? He's been trying to meet with you. And then that's where the coach met with me. And then he thought I wanted to be part of the film crew. He said, yeah, you seem like a guy. He's scared of heights. I said, scared of heights? Why is that? He said, well, you seem like, you want to be a part of this thing. We want you to film practices. I don't want to film practice. I want to play. He said, there's no way you're going to play here. We've already got every freshman scouted out. They're coming in next year. They're ahead of you. The only way you'll be able to play is if one of them or all of them quit, and then you'll be ranked above one of those guys. He really helped me get my foot in the door. He probably doesn't know it, probably doesn't remember it, but to me it was a huge deal.
Wow, that's a cool story. Really is. I like Marcellus Wiley. He's a cool guy.
He's a charismatic guy, and it's just something for all young athletes. One thing to know about him was that he was known to have set the tone of practice all the time. If he wanted to have a good practice, there was going to be a good practice. I almost liken it in the Ivy League sense to, we're all watching The Last Dance. to Jordan, he's dictating the tone of a practice. And it's awesome when a player's doing it and it's not a coach.
Yeah, especially. That's good. Good. So, Rob, I'll let you take the floor here.
Like, yeah, I'll go right off of that. Is that you always in good teams you need the players to lead. So I think we had that. But so you mentioned in your podcast that your experience at Columbia influences how you coach. That's a very broad term. So you didn't start for your two first years. That's correct, right? And
That
a
is
special
correct.
teams guy. Okay.
Yep.
So first off, you're a big, like I said, big special teams guy because you play special teams. And I remember us doing some wacky stuff on special teams, and that was because of you, correct? Like the surprise onside kicks and the kick going this way and running that way. So just if you expand on, well, in your own words, how your experience at Columbia influenced how you coach like a high school level.
Yeah. Well, I'd say, again, I'm going back to 7th and 8th grade. I think I've been the same person. Columbia kind of revealed who I was more. So my time of getting on the field at Columbia started with special teams. And for me, it was always getting this ragtag group of guys together from offense and defense, right? So in high school, it's kind of weird, right? You hate the offense, you hate the defense, depending on what side of the ball you're on. When you go to college, it's even worse because guys don't play both sides for the most part. So you literally get into a situation where you hate the other guys on your team because they're playing offense and battling with them every day in spring ball. But special teams is the time where you get everybody together. So for me, and that's really was my way on, not just as a player, but as a scout player. I wanted to be the number one guy on scout on kickoff return because, like, all right, we're playing Dartmouth this week. What does their guy on the front line do? And how am I going to do a great job to stop our guy on kickoff return on kickoff on practice to make him better during the game? So that's how far I was looking into it. Like, not be number one on our depth chart, be number one on the scout team depth chart. The other thing I had seen while playing ball, and this has more to do, not always about special teams, was sometimes coaches play talent over anything else. And I don't know, I'll make a very broad statement here, but sometimes that's an easy cop-out for a coach. Hey, that guy's 6'2", he runs a 4.3. He can't make that play. That's his problem, not mine. So they won't take the risk, and they'll put that talent in. There's a saying that nobody ever gets fired for hiring IBM, right? Like, it's a big company, you know who they are, you're not going to lose your job over. So the way that I coached once I got into high school was, I'm not going to just coach talent. I'm not just going to play talent. We're going to play the best football player. And I remember being at Columbia, one thing we always said about that other school, Princeton, was that they played players. You looked at their starting linebacker core, it might have been 4 5'10" guys running a 5'2", but they wanted to bite your face off when they came for a tackle. So that's how I coached. It was never about putting the most talented guy out there. It was always about the guy that wanted it the most and couldn't have the team aspect of it. So now you roll that back into special teams, and this is why I love being a special teams coach, because it afforded me the opportunity to get a guy on the field who normally wouldn't play, right? We'll find a spot for you. Let's say there's 6 special teams, there's 66 positions. We're going to find a spot for you in one of those 66 positions. And maybe it's kickoff team. Maybe you're going to do nothing but run into a hole or disrupt their kickoff return. We're going to do that thing. Let's figure out what that thing is, and we're going to make it happen. And I loved it. Also, if you think about the Giants head coach now, he said it best. Even Belichick, I'm pointing behind me because I have Bill Belichick's big book of football behind me. He said it years ago. Being a special teams coach is the closest thing to being a head coach because you really have to take into account everything that's happening during the game. Or if one guy gets hurt, he could play 6 different special teams for you. So if you're a linebacker, so you're inside linebacker. But if you're a special teams coach, the guy could be 6 different positions on special teams. Now you have to reorder your entire depth chart. Where you got to know to punt or go for it. Or how do you want to kick it off deep, or you want to kick a sky kick and put him in a different position. It really is a good segue into being a head coach by being a special teams coach.
Oh, wow. All right. That's all right. So then, Rob, you have, I know you said you had one more question off that, or no?
Actually, since you brought up Joe Judge, I'll ask this question right now. He basically refuses to use players' names, even a guy like Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. Do you think that works in the pros?
I don't know. I like, when I heard that guy speak, and I'm saying what people said to me. They said he sounds a hell of a lot like you. So I'm going to answer with I don't know. So I love what he's trying to do, and I respect it. And I'll say that we tried to do the same exact thing. Especially you guys played at sea. We just tried to bring an old school team first style of football back. And I really think here's the way I'm going to answer the question. It might not be the pros. It might be the organization. If the organization is about that, it's going to happen. If the organization is not about that, it's not going to happen. So I think you win as a team, you lose as a team. And when I say team, I mean everybody. I mean the entire organization. Going back to The Last Dance, they're giving Krause a lot of garbage for saying that it's not all about the players. And he did kind of clarify his statement, but I think there was more to it. This wasn't a lifetime, so they took it and ran with it. But I believe that you take a Bill Belichick with the Browns, and then you take a Bill Belichick with the Patriots. He was always a great coach. So what's different? It's the organization of the Patriots that supported his team-first, old-school philosophy. Giants, they had that with Parcells, with Coughlin. Maybe they want to get back to it. So I don't know, Rob. I think it'll work with the organization, but only time will tell. I've not been around an NFL organization enough to know if it'll change.
I believe it's going to work. I mean, yeah, especially like the Giants, it's a different organization, and you got players that aren't like, Barkley and Daniel Jones are two guys like that are humble. So I think they'll take it like that and just work for their jobs and win football games, I guess.
I think he's got credibility, right? When you have an endorsement from Bill Belichick, that goes a pretty long way.
Yes.
Yeah, that definitely goes a long way.
He worked for Saban too, and he's got that endorsement.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow, I didn't know that. See, that makes it even better. I like Nick Saban. But so we'll stay on, I guess, the topic of the coaching. So like I listened to your podcast, you said that in college it was the 2-gap defense, right? You were talking?
Yep.
And you said with your players you only ran 1.
Right.
Why only run 1 instead of 2? Is it just that much harder? What's the difficulty between?
So I'm going to go take a step back for people that don't know what we're talking about. They're not football guys. So a gap in football is essentially a hole that a running back may run the football through. For linebackers, they usually have responsibility for one of those gaps. They're named A gap, B gap, C gap, D gap. And linemen have other gaps. So everybody's supposed to fit into one of these gaps and clog the holes that the running backs can go through. So in college, we would have responsibility for 2 separate gaps depending on the play and the flow of the play. So for example, if I'm the left inside linebacker and the ball's going to my left, I have the D gap. But if it's going to my right, I have the A gap. So for me, I have to make 2 decisions. I have to know where the ball's going, and then B, I have to make a decision on how to plug that gap. So for me, and I thought I was a pretty cerebral guy, and I love football, and I was a student of the game, it was always a little difficult to remember what gap I had depending on the formation they were in or where the ball was going. So when we got into coaching at St. Joseph by the Sea, we made a decision, okay, we're going to keep this simple on our players. We're going to make them only have 1 gap. It means you have the A gap, and that's it. And we eliminated the decision, and we wanted to let our players play. Now, I'll also be honest. When I first started coaching at St. Joseph by the Sea, I think I had a playbook the size of like the Bible. It was huge. And then I remember watching Rex Ryan. He just became the head coach of the Jets. I'm not a Jets fan, but he said something I just said before. I've copied it from him. He said, football is a easy game. Coaches overcomplicate it. And I remember reading in his book on the 46 defense, he said, you make it so hard that you can only allow yourself to have these hyper-intelligent guys play football. And again, you might have some dude on the sideline who's not that smart. Why are you doing that? Make the game as simple as you possibly can. So to answer your question, Kevin, I'm a big 1-gap guy just because I love city and I want to get guys playing and not thinking.
Okay, well, yeah, I totally understand that, especially, us back in high school. I don't think my brain could comprehend the 2-gap or anything. So I think that so easier on the players.
And think about it, Kevin. You're right. You went to a very academic school, right? So I'm sure all day during school you weren't thinking about what gap to fit in or what coverage you're going to be. You're probably thinking about, I handle pre-calculus. What am I doing in earth science today? This is like the last thing on your mind. When you get to practice, we want guys flying around like their hair's on fire, not thinking about football too much.
Exactly.
Because
So
if you think you don't react as fast as you need to.
Exactly. Just play.
So like Rob said in the intro, in your introduction, that advanced training. So well, the
Okay,
virus, oh, you
I
want
got
to go
one more.
first?
I got one
Go
more
ahead.
team question.
Go ahead.
You were big on the 3-5 back in the day.
Yep.
Well, why did you like the 3-5, and then why did we revert back to the 3-4?
Okay. So when I was at St. Joseph by the Sea, man, we don't go to high schools, but
Yeah.
my first year there, oddly, Coach Manos put in the same college that I ran in, the same defense that I ran in college. So what is the odds of that? Like, he literally put in the same exact defense that I ran in college, which was, believe it or not, 4-4. So, like, wipe the dust off that thing. It's like the fire was invented and the 4-4 was invented as a defense, and that's what we were running. So the following year, so I was a JV coach, come up to varsity, looking at the kids on our team, and I realized we had a lot of linebackers. We had a lot of 5'7" running a 5'2", for lack of a better word, I'll call them meatheads that just love to punch. I didn't think we had 4 linemen and guys to rotate through. So Coach Manos' philosophy was he wanted fresh linemen. So I didn't think we had 8 linemen. He wanted, 4 starters, 4 backups, always have them going. I said, okay, I think we have 6, so we could rotate 2 groups of 3, but we got a lot of linebackers. So we put in this defense based on our personnel because we had so many linebackers. So it really wasn't just that I loved the 3-5. It didn't exist. So I'm not going to say I invented the 3-5, but I'll be honest that I had never heard about the 3-5. I just sat down with a pen and a pad and said, how could we get all of these guys on the field at the same time? And I'll throw out some old names and listening to this thing, but a Castellano, Bonanno, Fracavento, these were guys that we wanted to keep them on the field as much as possible. And how do we get all 5 of them in the game at the same point? Now, to your grade, why do we go to a 3-4? Well, the game back when I was put in the 3-5, there was always 2 running backs. There was something called a fullback. We had to run a lot of ISO plays at us. So, there's a guy comes smash down the middle. By the time I got back to C, it was just when you ran a 3-5 and they went in trips, they took you out of your 3-5. If they went in an empty set, they took you out of your 3-5. So Coach Clark and I decided, well, we're not going to be chasing these offenses around. We're going to line up in a 3-4, and we'll use these safeties to move around, and we'll keep our linebackers in the box. Now, you could play games with it. You could roll a safety into the box who's a hard hitter, and now it becomes a 3-5.
All right. Wow.
Nice. Well, I have 2 questions quickly for Coach Mahoney. The first one, getting back to your college days at Columbia, first off, it's just an amazing story of hard work and the determination to be a walk-on, to be a starter. So my question is for you, just for our viewers, some of our viewers, some of them might have a goal that they're trying to reach. So my question to you is, if you want to give them advice on like not to give up or just that hard work and the determination, like what's your advice for people that are trying to achieve a goal that they're trying to work so hard for?
You got to embrace the failure and the pain. It's part of the process. Now, look, I didn't know it when I was in college. I learned it. I learned from the pain afterwards. I learned that from going through that walk-on experience. There's nothing that somebody's going to say to me at work that's going to break my heart, especially the things that they were putting me through when I was trying to walk on. I'm sure you guys listen to it in the podcast, but we're running suicides and they're telling me I didn't touch the line. And I did. They're just messing with me. They're throwing me off the field for no reason at all, just to mess with me. And I deserved it. But you learn from the pain. Now, I think people have to understand that the pain is good. It's an opportunity. And I think that people, especially now, they don't get it. Things are so easy. I think of something, I don't have to think about it. I just go on my phone and I look it up. I want to see something on TV. I just go to Netflix and it's right there. There's not that much pain anymore. You don't have to work hard for everything that you're going to get. But the reality is, in real life, outside of this virtual world, things are tough. And you have to understand that the toughness, it's a gift. It's only preparing you for the next time. And I'll say, even at my job, there's been times where I didn't get a promotion and I was devastated. And then I look back and say, man, that was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. Not getting that promotion prepared me for the next job. Not getting that promotion gave me the fire to get back up the next time. And for me, when I was at Columbia, it was always in my mind. This is the one thing that got my mind is, I'm not going to let you beat me. You're never, ever, ever going to make me quit. You're not. I'm not going to quit. So you could do whatever you want to me. You could not play me. You could tell me this guy's here because he was recruited over me. But I'm not. The one thing I can control is if you make me quit or not. And that is definitely not going to happen. Now, from my end, I took the angle of I'm just going to make you think that I want to hit you harder every time. I'm not going to relent. But in reality, in my mind too, is I was so small, I couldn't let up. I couldn't give you – if I let up for a second, I would have got rocked. So I had to bring my A game every single day to practice. And people thought, man, this guy works hard. No, I was surviving. Otherwise, I wouldn't have made it off the field. I had to bring it every single time.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Then my final question to you, before we get into your advanced training, I always like to ask coaches this question: who was your favorite football player growing up, and why?
Great question. My favorite player, you guys are probably way too young to remember, is Chris Spielman from the Detroit Lions. So he was.
Wow.
I'll tell you exactly why. He was a middle linebacker, and he was a craftsman. So this guy, back in the golden ages of football, think about this. Imagine he had a big screen TV in his house. They had what was called the tight view, right? So there's a wide view where you see the whole field, and then there's a tight view where you're looking at it from behind the offense or in front of the offense, depending on which side of the ball you're on. And he would play the game. So he would wind it up where he's seeing the offense looking right at him, and he would play the game. So I was a middle linebacker. And I love the way he, if you guys are big inside linebacker fans, there's keys that tell you where the ball's going. It's all a big riddle. And if you just look at those keys, everything's going to happen. So if the guard pulls, the ball's going where the guard's pulling. If the hole opens up, you fill it. If there's two guys blocking down, you go over the top. It's the same thing no matter what. I can go step on the field with the New York Jets tomorrow. Those keys are going to work. Maybe I'm too small, too slow to do it, but I'll know what the play is. Maybe I'll get there and get pulverized, but I'll know what the play is. And so Chris Spielman, I also say he kind of looked like me, except he was way bigger. He was like 6, maybe he was like 6'1". They always said he was undersized. He was slow for his position, but watch the guy play, and he was a dude just because of the work that he put in. Also, while he played on offense was Barry Sanders. So it was just a win-win for me. I get to watch Barry Sanders juke everybody out when they have the ball, and then Chris Spielman lighting people up as a linebacker.
Do you have a favorite player in today's NFL, or?
No. I'm an older guy.
Okay.
And I'm really old. I'm looking at coaches. Who do I like?
Coaches.
And people are going to hate me because I'm just such a big Patriot guy. I love what the Patriots do. I love the organization that they've developed. I'll go as far as saying they're one of the best organizations at anything ever, from top to bottom, the way they do things. And I'm liking the coaches that they've started to brand outside of the Patriots. Brian Flores at Miami.
Brian Flores, yes.
Yeah, I just like what he's doing there. And I'm hoping that he could pick up some of the things that Belichick threw down. When I coached at Poly Prep, Brian Flores was a Poly Prep alumnus, and he was already a scout for the Patriots. This was, 1,000 years ago. So he's really been inbred in that culture of what they've done. So I'm curious to see how far he's going to get along with the Dolphins with it.
Yeah, exactly. You could just tell that he's going to turn that team around. He's very determined to turn the team around. They have a lot of draft picks this year, so hopefully they'll take another step this year coming up.
Yeah, and something that's pretty cool about Brian Flores. So, and you guys, the Wallen brothers, you talk about the influence a high school coach has on you. So Brian Flores, Coach Flores, his coach in high school was my coach in high school. When I went to coach at Poly Prep, I went to coach for my coach in high school. Because of that, I was able to take a pretty good tour of the Dolphins facility this year. Like one of the little private tour with another guy that I coached with who's now coaching there. And all the sayings from our high school coach are on the wall. So here's this NFL guy. He coached with Belichick, and he has sayings from our high school coach on the wall in their meeting rooms. So this stuff goes a long way. And while I'm back to your question before, like how does things influence how you coach? I'll say this. I do appreciate the impact that a high school coach can have on a kid. I appreciate that you could, in many instances, possibly ruin a kid's, adolescent years or teenage years because he doesn't get the opportunity to be what he sticks with you. You could be a 60-year-old guy and say, man, my high school coach screwed me over. I should have played. That always rings in the back of my head, even to this day, of how you coach a kid. Let's give him every opportunity to make the most out of himself.
All right. So
I can definitely attest to that. For those of you who don't know, my high school playing days, limited role, scout defense guy, scout special teams guy. But no matter what, even if I screwed up, Coach Mahoney was on me like I was like a starter. So I remember one day on Thanksgiving morning, maybe I was dogging it a little bit. Remember that cold Thanksgiving morning practice? I don't know. He's like, Mom, what are you doing out there? And he's getting on me. I was like, that kind of show. Now in hindsight, that shows me a lot.
Oh, because you did practice like you were a starter, so I wasn't going to treat you any other way, right? Every kid deserves to be coached up, and your impact on scout defense was critical because you made our offense better. Our offense scored points because of how hard you practiced on scout defense. To me, I genuinely cared about that. And it wasn't called Thanksgiving morning.
Damn. Practice on Thanksgiving morning. That must have been tough. Get up.
Oh, yeah.
That was Hurricane Sandy year, right?
Yeah, plus the snow. So
Yes.
I remember we were supposed to play Stepanek, and then it got pushed back for 2 weeks, and then it got pushed back for like 3. And I remember the Joe Sarno quote was, "Man, it's tough to beat Coach Mahoney on 1 week. Imagine what's going to happen on 2."
I got to thank him for that quote.
All right, so we'll jump in, as Rob said before, Mahoney advanced training. So I have a question for you, especially with the times we're in now. Everyone's quarantined home. So what is the best way to guess work out if you're limited on weights or have no weights at all?
So I'd say, you got your body, right? There's nothing stopping you from doing body weight squats. There's nothing stopping you from doing push-ups. There's nothing stopping you from going out and running. I think sprinting is one of the best forms of exercise that there is. It's going to get you, look at Olympic sprinters. They're jacked up. It takes a lot of muscle contraction to sprint as fast as you can or bear crawl. So there's no excuse to not do any of that stuff. Now, things that I've talked about were just because you don't have weights doesn't mean that everything has to be this sick cardio workout where I'm going to do 500 body weight squats for the next hour, right? Because then you won't be able to walk, and really what's the benefit of that? So for me, it's about how can I get the optimal bracing of my body in limited amount of reps that I need to get. So I just, get a body weight squat. If I just squeeze every part of my body, can I get similar contractions that I would if I put a 275-pound barbell on my back? Now, for the guys that I train, we have a good little circle. So we've gotten, and this is what you should have anyway, right? If you are really serious about training, you should own bands 100%. Because when I go to a gym on vacation with my wife and there's only 50-pound dumbbells in the hotel, what am I going to do? Right? So you have bands, and now that 50-pound dumbbell feels like it's 120-pound dumbbell. Bands, and now I've had them, but they got them, sandbags. So it's a relatively cheap piece of equipment, but you could do just about anything with a sandbag. Hang, squat it, snatch it, whatever you want to do, as long as you don't kill yourself with it. But if you're just taking a sandbag and walking around with it, it's a great way to work out. But I would not use this time as an excuse to do nothing. It's just, to me, it's opportunities to learn new stuff that you wouldn't normally do.
All right. Thank you for that. That's a lot of people are going to need that because everyone's panicking with these gyms closed and everything, and no one knows what to really do.
I'll say I'm relatively lucky. I've had a weight set. It's nothing much. It's a bench. It's a squat rack. I got a weight tree in my garage. I have a bunch of weights because I've used them outside with weights. I have sleds. I have prows. I have all the toys that I use when I train my guys. I'm lucky. But at least for me, I know I've been starting to experiment with more stuff just so I can show it to our guys in case they don't have weights. The other part of it is that the way we train normally, we do a lot of body weight stuff anyway. I really to control your body. A 500-pound back squat, it's only going to help you to a certain extent on a football field. So do you have relative body strength? Can you jump? Can you land? Can you do prehab work so you don't blow out your knee? You're doing anyway. So for us, there's a minimal impact to the way we're working out.
All right. Thank you for that. So, Steve, you have I know you said you had some questions on the advanced training. So go ahead.
Yes. So you hear about all these diet plans like keto, high fat, low calorie intake. So my question is, what's the most efficient diet plan in your opinion, and the healthiest one that will make someone like a fat kid like me lose weight?
So this is going to sound like the simplest / stupidest advice ever, but the best is the one you can follow. So there's a lot of great diets out there. There's a lot of great football offenses out there. But if you can't follow it and don't want to do it, it's not worth doing because you're going to end up and it's going to be a nightmare. Now, there's a bunch of diets that have been effective for different people. I'll tell you diets that have been effective for me. I don't like decisions. I don't like to think. So it makes it easier for George Mahoney, this is me speaking about me, when something's laid out for me. So I was a big fan of the Tim Ferriss low-carb diet because it gave me 6 days a week. You're going to eat this, this, and this. Or more or less, it was like, you're not going to eat this, this, and this. On the 7th day, eat whatever you want and get it out of your system. For me, I need a cheat day to get all that craziness out of my system, or I just become a lunatic. For other people, they need other rules, like let's say a carnivore diet, where they just said, you're just going to eat meat. Now they've eliminated a lot of other decisions from what they have to do. And also, those diets are good for certain people because they eliminate stuff that you bet your body may not react well to. So, for example, a carnivore diet may not be the healthiest thing in the world, but if it stops you from drinking Pepsi and white bread, well, then it's a win. But it might not be the most optimal diet in the world for anybody. So I'd say break it. Don't go too extreme. Just find the one that you think you can follow and stick to it. Don't keep changing.
Okay, awesome. And just one more question for someone like myself. I'm always up and down in weight and stuff. So I'm always trying to find what's the best workouts in your opinion to do, whether it's outside or at home, that will make you shed the weight in your opinion. So
I'd say this, and this is again probably not going to answer your question, but you can't out-train your mouth. So I was a big advocate of this when I was growing up. It's like, I'm playing football. So I go to breakfast with my parents and order 6 meals. And the waitress was like, who else is coming? No, it's all me. I can burn all this stuff off, right? But it's a never-ending game of I want to eat more and train more, eat more and train more. And then your body breaks down because you're training so much. And now you're trying to out-train your mouth by eating so much. I'd say the real thing, this is the way I'd recommend it, is eat for your physique and train for your performance. Really use your training to get stronger or faster or whatever your goals are. But don't try and out-train your mouth. Diet is so much more important than exercise in terms of weight loss, just because it'll get you to a bad spot. They definitely play hand in hand. I'm not going to lie. Your diet is going to, for me, my diet is my fuel for my performance. And it's the goals it's the thing that's going to help me hit my goals in terms of physique. But when I'm in the gym, I've stopped the mentality of I'm going to go burn off this 2 Baconators that I had last night on my cheat day. Fool's errand, because I'm going to wear myself down. Because I'm a maniac in the gym and I'm a maniac on cheat day. Those things aren't going to work well with each other.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach. Thank you.
Yeah, I feel like I'm not giving you good answers to your question, because I'm sure.
No, still though, it was good. It was great.
I'll tell you things that don't. I'll give you some sort of an answer, Steve. Right?
Sure.
So things that probably won't work are long, steady state cardio. Right? Like I'm going to go jog 10 miles, and that's going to be the key to me losing weight. Look at a marathon runner. Look how skinny that person is. I'd say for people that are overweight or they're not built like a marathon runner, myself included, I'm not built like a marathon runner. It might do more damage than good for me to go jogging 6 miles. Probably going to get shin splints. My back's going to hurt. For me, I like to do wind sprints. I like to do high intensity, short volume exercises for my performance, but I don't want to do anything that's going to get me hurt.
Okay.
All right. Steve, you got
Thank you, Coach. Yes, of course. Thank you, Coach. Thank you.
All right. I just have I just want to throw this in real quick. I just want your opinion on something. I want to know, because, speaking of working out tremendously, Dwayne Johnson, huge man.
I sent you that video, Coach.
Yeah. I love Dwayne Johnson on every level.
So there's a lot of people thinking, do you think he's on steroids?
I have no idea. He's a big dude. I'll say this, his personality is infectious. So we're all drawn to him just because he's super positive. He's obviously a jacked up guy. He didn't come out of the box with success right away. I cannot comment on his physique, but he is a monster.
I just wanted to get that question in,
Well, I have one more question. Rob's told me in the past that you value sleep. That's very importantly. So my thing is, there's a lot of people out there that think that sleep's not really important. Oh, as long as I get my 6 hours in, I'll be fine. 5.5 hours. So I just want to ask you, how important is sleep to the body and to the mind overall?
Sleep is the second most important thing to your body and to your mind. So for me, I have this pyramid of this, what I call the secrets of strength. The bottom level, the number one most important thing, the foundation, is breathing. Breathing is the most important thing you're going to do. It's your number one fuel source. Right? It's oxygen. People talk about water, their protein shakes, their what do they call it? Pre-workout. I don't take that. My wife takes pre-workout, but they talk about that stuff to fuel you. But really, oxygen is your number one fuel source. It also, breathing the right way is going to help you sleep better. Now, sleep, there are people that say they can function off of 5 to 6 hours of sleep. And that's, for the most part, they're wrong. There might be like a very small percentage of people in the world that are awesome at 5 to 6% sleep. Unfortunately, sleep deprived, they don't know any better. It's like telling a person who's drunk, you're drunk. Right? Like, I'm not drunk. And then they realize. So what happens when you sleep? And I don't know about you guys, but when I played football, when I slept during football camp, all I dreamed about was football camp. It was the worst thing on earth. But what I was soon to realize was that your brain is making connections while you're sleeping. It's actually putting together the pieces of this puzzle. So imagine you've read 6 chapters of a book. When you sleep, it takes those 6 chapters and it formulates them into an entire story. So it's helping your body make these connections. Now you're becoming better the next day at whatever thing you were practicing. In terms of your mind, it's doing the same thing. That term sleep on it, it's actually there for a reason. Think about something, go to bed, wake up the next day. Now you've kind of made informed decisions in your head. With learning, it's better to break training into 2 days. Have people go home, sleep on it, come back the next day, and now they just all of a sudden miraculously know it more. So I know 50 Cent said sleep is for poor people. I really do believe you need 7 to 8 hours of sleep, and something called sleep debt. If you are religiously not getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep, say 50 days in a row, you got 7 hours of sleep instead of 8. Now you have 50 hours of sleep debt. You need to make that sleep. The other thing I'll say on the topic of sleep, it doesn't matter just how much you sleep. It matters when you sleep. So you really should be sleeping at night so that your body's in line with the circadian rhythm. So it's, taking it is okay. It helps with some of the sleep debt, but it's best to sleep during sleep hours and get your 8 hours of sleep. I'll also say, Steve, talking about fat loss, if you wanted to ask me the best thing to do to burn fat easily, get 8 hours of sleep. I will tell you, when I get the most sleep, I lose the most weight.
Yeah, because I feel like people in the teens and around my age, in the 20s, we really don't take sleep seriously. Like, as long as we have 4 or 5 hours, because we're either out late, we're hungover, and stuff like that. But in my opinion, I can't function when I'm on 5, 6 hours sleep. I just can't do it. I'm just like dead tired at work and stuff. So what I've been trying to do is sleep in more like 8, 9 hours. But during this quarantine, I'll be honest, it's hard for me to fall asleep. I'm going to sleep honestly at like 2:30 or 3 in the morning, and it's bad. It's terrible.
So I'll say from my end, the quarantines helped me because normally I was getting up at 4:20, working out before, and then getting in traffic to go to work. Now I don't have that, so I've given myself an extra hour. But to your point, the hard part for me has been the same self-discipline to go to bed at the same time.
Yeah.
Some wiggle room in the morning. I've eliminated a lot of guilty pleasures in my life. So I'm watching ridiculous TV shows. I'll watch some stuff with my wife. At 8:30, I've set my bedtime. I'm going to bed at 8:30. That's it.
Wow.
Hey, that's like our problem over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't say it was fun. I just said that, I'm getting my 8 hours of sleep. And on the weekends, you don't want to change your sleep patterns on the weekends either. So, luckily my wife, she's now in the same sleep pattern as me. So it's not like where she's and then I'm going to bed at 8:30 and we're waking each other up. We're kind of going to bed around the same time.
All right. That's good.
Wow.
Man.
When I was young and fun, though, I did used to go out pretty late and pretty early. I gave up sleep. I don't need sleep. I'm
Okay, wait. Now I have a quick question. What about like President Trump? He says he gets like 3 hours, 4 hours tops every night.
I believe that. I think that man's operating on a different level than I am. So I do believe that he's hardly getting any sleep.
Especially now. Yeah.
Oh yeah, now it's probably getting like 2. But all right, Rob.
So mine's is going to be pretty basic. What inspired advanced training? And because anybody who knows the program, you got guys getting up at 4:30 in the morning to come push 150-pound sleds, and it's a great following, great training program. I wish I could be involved, but with my work, I'm punching in when guys are getting in the field. So that's just unfortunate on my end.
Yep.
Can you speak to what inspired it? Is it an extension of coaching? Is it just you wanting to train with other people? What is it?
So you go back to my time at Columbia. It really was Columbia that inspired it. So when I played at our weight room was the size of a closet, and we really didn't work out all that much. So we didn't have a back squat machine. We didn't really have things that would put me in a good spot. When I went to college, I looked like I knew what I was doing. So when I got to college and I was walking on and I was in the weight room, the strength coach, he threw me out. He said, "You don't know anything, man." He would just call me Staten Island. You don't know anything. Island. He was from Queens. Now, I went to school in Manhattan, but hardly anyone on the football team was from New York. Everybody was from everywhere but New York. So we had a connection because he was from Queens. I was from Island. We were few New Yorkers in this program, and he threw me out saying, "You're garbage." I was wearing gloves. I was wearing a weight belt, everything that I don't believe in now. I didn't know what I was doing. And it took me about a full year to just kind of catch up. I didn't really catch up to people in the weight room at Columbia until I left. So when I started coaching at C, I thought, you know what? I don't want another kid from this program being as far behind as I was walking into the door of college. Because regardless if it's right or wrong, coaches do look at those numbers and say, this guy benches 365. This guy benches 315. Let's recruit the 365 guy, right? I don't know if it makes you a better football player, but they're going to recruit based on that. Or this guy runs a 4.4, 4.6. Let's take the 4.4 guy. So the reason I named it advanced training was and the slogan used to be take it to the next level, is that I had trained in a very methodical way, increasing guys level by level. What I was trying to portray was, hey, we're training at an advanced level. This is not for 8th graders. This is not for freshmen in high school. This is legitimately targeted toward high school seniors trying to become college football players and then having those same guys back during their college football career. And that's how advanced training started. Now, if you think about if you're trying to make a living off of this, it's the worst demographic in the world because you got basically poor college kids training with you who don't really want to spend a lot of money and parents that at that point, when a kid's 6, they'll send their kid to every summer camp in the world. When the kid's 18 and he's going to a D3 college, they could less going to some trainer to get them better at their sport for the most part. So I really did it for sole love. I wasn't trying to make a job. I had other jobs working in corporate America. This was me really trying to get ready for college football. And that's how it started. And now a lot of it is just, old washed up guys who still want to feel like they can play another couple downs at the college level.
Oh, hold on. Getting a phone call there. Hold on. Sorry about that. So that should wrap it up. If you guys got any more questions for Coach?
Just one more.
Go ahead, Rob. Send us off.
You absolutely hate overtraining. Like The Rock, when he walked everybody through his training program, it hit me as like, wow, that's a lot. Like, because back when I was young and stupid, like you just talked about, my first year of college, I was in the gym for like 2 hours, like, just doing a bunch of stuff. And like looking back, like the next day I'd be like all sore, like really sore and like couldn't do anything. Can you talk to overtraining and how you know when to stop so you don't hurt yourself?
For me, I started thinking about overtraining when I was struggling to walk down my steps after a squat day. I was thinking, if somebody breaks in my house right now, I can't do anything. My wife's going to think I'm pathetic. This guy's going to beat the hell out of me. It's all because I squatted too heavy yesterday. What is the point of this? And then, I was kind of letting today ruin tomorrow. And then I realized that your gains are really from the recovery period of working out. So while you're in the gym, you're breaking your body down. When you're out of the gym, you're recovering bigger. So, and what really sealed the deal is I had gone to a nutritionist about 3 or 4 years ago. And he said to me, "You're working out way too much." This guy was a professional. He was Mr. New Jersey. He was a professional bodybuilder, ripped up at a certain point in his life. And he said, "You need to work out half as much as you're working out now." And I did. And that was, I think my body fat decreased about % by just working out less. So I lost all my body fat, kept all my muscle. I can show you the statistics on it if you ever want to see it. Just so I'm not lying to you because it's not easy to do. But based on his program, by doing less in the gym, it actually made me A, stronger, and B, fitter. A lot of body fat shed. Now, the problem, though, Rob, is you work out with our crew. And always the guys I've trained, I felt like the number one thing for me to do them from killing themselves or somebody else. They were maniacs. They're filled with energy, they're testosterone. They want to be bigger and stronger than everybody. "You're holding me back, coach. You're holding me back." And it was just like me trying to save them from themselves, from killing themselves, and myself included. Same guy. It takes a certain personality to do what we do. It takes a certain personality to wake up at 4:30 in the morning in January and go push a sled. So you're trying to tell that animal to go not throw up after the workout, or, hey, why are you working out after this workout? on the Mona Lisa. So it's a hard thing to sell. Or Steve, to your point, how do I train to burn off calories? Well, I got to burn off all this fat. Yeah, but you're going to train so hard today that you're going to wear out. And this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And I'll finish with this. Listening to this guy, I think his name is Chris Summers. He was the Olympic weightlifting coach. He said, training is restraint. Every world champion he's ever had has had restraint in the weight room. Everyone that's ever failed has been the guy that's fought with them. I need to do more. I need to do more. They always get injured. They never come through. And it's the guys who just treat training as practice. And that's probably a key for me. Training, practice. It's a skill. It's an art. Don't go in and make it game day every single time.
All right, this was fun. Fun interview we did here. If you guys liked it, we'll maybe do some more. Just let us know in the comments. Coach, we appreciate you taking time out of your day to come on this small podcast we got here.
This was great, man. I miss you guys, so this was a good opportunity to connect with you.
Yeah, it was fun. Go ahead, Steve. What were you gonna say?
I just want to tell Coach Mahoney, thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for taking time out of your day to answer all of our questions and to be on the show. And I will take your advice. And just to all of our viewers out there, it's Advanced Training with George Mahoney. Great podcast. Check it out. Thank you, Coach.
I got to shout out.
Thank you.
Shout out the brand there.
And Steve, if you want to talk about this more, I'm sure you have my phone number. Just let me know. We can always. I know Rob's always picking my brain for stuff, so I'm always open to answer questions.
Yes, I will. Thank you, Coach. I appreciate that.
All right, guys. Thank you. Awesome stuff. Good luck with the rest of this podcast.
Yes, we will definitely see you soon, Coach.
All right,
Thank
guys.
you, Coach.
Yep. Stay safe. Bye.
You